for this project, you're gonna wanna have 2 different types of fabric. I'm gonna be using my ferrets fabric. You're going to want to have some sort of fusible interfacing or some sort of something to help your fabric stand up. This irons on, it's very easy. I absolutely love it. You can see by the picture on the front that it's for bags and purses. You see how they're using it. Gives you an example. So when you go to the craft store, you can kind of decide what you need. It'll kind of show you on the front if you get it this way. You can also buy it by the yard from the cutting counter. I'm also going to be adding a pocket, so I'm going to be using a 7-inch zipper. If you don't want to add a pocket, don't worry about it. You don't need to do that. You're going to want some hook and loop, which is basically Velcro. This is iron-on, but you can get the sew-on kind. Again, that's up to you. You're going to obviously need your sewing machine and some thread. You're going to want to have some scissors. You may need a rotary cutter. Actually, you won't need a rotary cutter, but you could use one if you wanted to. You're also going to need a ruler, something to measure. And then for convenience, I created templates to cut my fabric out because it just makes it easier. But you don't have to do this either, but I will put all the measurements in the description. When you go to cut out your fabric, if you're using a pattern for your outside of the bag, make sure that you cut your pattern out so that when you are finished with your product, your pattern is facing in the direction that makes sense. For me, I don't want the front of my bag to be one way and the back to be the other. In other words, I don't want my ferrets upside down on the back of my bag. So just pay attention to how you're cutting and sewing together your outside fabric, particularly if it has a design on it where it would matter if it was upside down. I'm going to go ahead and apply all the pellon interfacing to all of my pieces of fabric. The shiny side is the side with the glue. You're going to place the shiny side on the wrong side of the fabric. For this, you would take a damp cloth and put it over top of the pellon. You're going to set your iron on a steam or wool setting, and then you're going to hold down the iron in place on each part of the fabric for 8 to 10 seconds or until it sticks. You want your pellon to be about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch shorter all the way around than your actual fabric piece. For this next part, you're going to want to have a pocket piece for your outside and a pocket piece for your inside and a zipper for both. So I already made the pocket for the outside of my bag. I'm going to show you guys how to make a pocket, and you can use this technique on all of your pockets. I'm going to make this for the front of the inside of the bag. So this is my front side. We're going to put this aside a second. We don't need that right this second. So what we want to do is we want to take our pocket piece and we want to measure 1 inch from the top all the way across like this. All right. And then we're going to draw a line. Okay. And then we're going to measure 3/8 of an inch down from this line. And we're going to draw another line. Now, we're going to go, so this is about 8 3/4 of an, sorry, this is about 8 3/4 of an inch across. I had to trim it up. So I'm going to draw, so 3/4 of an inch from the edge here, we're going to draw a line. We're going to say right about here. And then we're just going to go like this. And the same thing over here. And then we're going to take and we're going to make a triangle. This. And we're going to do the same thing on this side with this line. And then we are going to draw a line to connect the 2 points of the triangle. Okay, so now that you've drawn where your zipper is going to go, see, it will fit there. You're going to need to attach this to your top piece first. So this is my inside front pocket, and obviously I want to be able to reach my pocket when I put my hand in. I don't want it to be down here, so we're going to put this down about 1.5 inches from the top. And then we're gonna want to also try to make sure it's centered. So I'm gonna eye this. I mean, it's going in on the inside, so it's not the end of the world. Let's see, pin this in place. And we're gonna sew starting from here up out the perimeter of the box, down the edge of the arrow, and then across the bottom. So that's what we're gonna sew right now. Next, you're gonna cut a line. You're gonna cut the line between the two arrows. Do not cut the arrows off. You're gonna cut the arrows so that the arrow itself remains. So you're gonna cut that straight line, and then you're gonna cut so that you have two triangles left. You should have a hole, and you should have this triangle. And what you need to do is you need to flip this on the other side. Pull your pocket through. So now you're probably gonna have to play with this for a little bit, and then we're gonna press this down. Next, just make sure that the seams of your lining and your pocket piece are lined up nicely, that they're flush, and then take it over to your ironing board and iron them down in place. Before we go any further, I would suggest that you take your zipper over to the sewing machine and that you put a little stitch right here so that you hold that in place so that we can position this where it needs to go, and it'll make it easier. So now you want to put your zipper in whatever direction that you want it to open from, whichever way you want it to open from. And you're gonna put it through the window like this. I want mine this way. And basically you want this tab, your zipper tab, to be showing. And obviously you want your zipper pull to be showing. And you kind of want to center your zipper so that it's centered the best that you can. And then you're gonna pin it in place. So now that I have the two pins on the ends, I'm gonna use double-sided tape to hold the rest in place because it makes it a little easier. That way I can make sure it's even, and so I'm just gonna put my double-sided tape on. You can use pins, it's up to you. This is easier for me. We're gonna sew as close as we can to the seam right here, all the way around, as close as you can possibly get to it. So now that you've sewn your pocket in, so you're gonna take your pocket and you're gonna fold it up like this. This is gonna be on the inside. You'll never see that anyway. It's gonna be hidden. You're just gonna wanna go to the sewing machine and sew here. You need to sew this close. So up the three sides, across the top, and down and up this side. So that now you may have to lift your presser foot up and move things around because this is kind of attached. You don't want to sew your panel at all, just the pocket. Okay, so now that you've done that, you can cut off any excess fabric if you want. I mean, you're not going to see this. It's going to be on the inside of your bag. It's not on the inside that you can see either. So there you have your pocket. When you open it up, you have your ferrets. See? Perfect. All right, put those aside. I've decided to add a zipper to the top. So you need to have 4 strips, 2 by 11, okay? So you need 4 of these. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold the ends. If you were using a pattern, you would put your pattern right sides down. And then you fold the edges about like this. You're gonna do this to all 4 of these pieces. You're gonna iron these these down in place. So you're gonna put one of these right sides up, and you're gonna take your zipper and you're gonna put it in the center the best that you can, like that. It doesn't really matter if it's centered because you can fix a zipper. So basically we're gonna put the zipper right side up. See how that is like against the edge? See, right there, okay? And then you're gonna take the next piece and you're gonna put it right sides down on top. So you're creating a little sandwich, just like this. And you're definitely gonna wanna pin this in place. Take it to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch all along this edge right here. Now you have this, but what you want to do is you want to take this and open it up, and you want to take and match your two pieces like this. Match these up right here. You're going to stitch the bottom edge closed, go up the side of the zipper, and stitch the top edge closed. You can leave the back side open. So you should now you should have something that looks like this. So basically, and then you're gonna go do the same thing to the other side of the zipper. All right, once you're done, you should have something that looks like this. So, and these are raw edges, it's okay. So now we need to make zipper pulls. You're gonna wanna fold these down like this. So create a little seam. Do that on both sides. And then you want to fold these in half like this with your seam facing out. And then you're going to want to sew down each side. Okay, so now that you've got these, you're just going to turn these right sides out. On both ends, place the zipper ends into the little pouch, and then you're going to want to stitch all the way around the outside of that pouch. Make sure that you don't run over the tab, the metal part, with your needle. Next, take your 4-inch piece of fabric and you're going to want to fold that in half all the way down. And then you're going to want to open it up and fold in each edge 1/4 inch inward. When you're done, you might want to press this in place and pin it, and then you're going to stitch all the way down the entire length of the strap to keep it closed. Next, you're going to want to get the front of your bag. So this is the front, outside front of my bag. And you're gonna want to get some Velcro. I'm going to use the iron-on kind because I absolutely love it and I hate sewing in Velcro. So I'm going to use the iron kind. Now sewing it would probably make it last longer, but I don't know. I mean, it depends. This is supposed to hold up through wash. I haven't had any issues with it so far. So, all right. Used about a 6.5-inch piece. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure about 4 inches down, I guess, roughly, and put it in the center. So this should measure around 12 inches, except I know I made it shorter a little bit. So it's about 12 inches. So we're going to put it 4 inches down in the center. I'm going to use the soft side. I'm going to put the soft side down first. So make sure you put this other piece aside. And we're going to just put this in the center. And then what you do is you take a damp cloth, you put it over top, and then you steam this down. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so now that we've got our Velcro on, we're going to take our back piece with our pocket. We're going to line these up right sides together. All right, so basically what you're going to do now is you're going to sew down the bottom, up, and you're going to leave the top open. bag. But for the next part, this is a little tricky, but it's not really. So make sure that you didn't miss anything. Make sure all your edges are closed. Put your hand in the bag like this. And you want to take this corner and you want to kind of make it flat like this. Now that you've got it flat, you want to kind of smash it like this. So you want it to look like this. You want this seam should line up with this bottom seam. They should be on top of each other, essentially. And if they're not, just move them around a little bit till you get them where you want them. Now you got them on top of each other, and you want to measure 4 inches across like this. So wherever you hit that 4 inches, draw a line. I guess you can bring it up higher to right there. Draw a line. And then once you do that, you're going to take this to the sewing machine and you're just going to sew across this line. And you're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're just going to cut right below the line you just stitched. Same thing on the other side. Now you're going to turn your bag right side out. So now you've got your bag that sits, and you want to roll in your insides. So just roll them down. You can even alright, so you have something like this at the moment. And we're just gonna kind of push that off to the side for a second. Alright, so now you're gonna take your inside lining pocket and you're gonna sew around all 3 sides. So do the same thing that you did for this to your inside pocket. So now you're gonna take your liner piece and you're gonna roll it down. Just about this much, not too much. Make sure that your seams are aligned here. And I want to now get my top of my bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Now remember that your bag is this, it's this width, so you want to do it this way. And you're going to want to fold this in half like this. I will say make sure that your ferrets are facing the right direction. This is going to be the bottom of the flap for your bag, so just make sure your ferrets are right. Okay, so we're going to do it this way. Put it like this, and then you're going to want to measure from the top of your bag, catty corner, like this. You want about 2 inches. And then you're just going to cut along right here. So basically now you should have this. And you're going to sew all 3 sides. Okay, so now you have this, and you're going to want to cut off any threads that you have. You're going to want to turn it right side out. This. Poke out your corners and make sure it's positioned good like this. We're going to assemble our bag now. Now this is the front. So get your outside lining, your inside lining, and place them inside of each other, like so. And you're gonna wanna make sure that this, you're gonna roll, still gonna roll this down, or back, I mean, back like this. You're gonna match it up around all the edges, starting with your seams. So right here. Okay, so now we got this. Here's what we have to do. We have to first attach this flap, but we're gonna do this all at one time. So this is the back of my bag, and you need to take out the pins in the back. And stick your flap inside between the 2 layers. You should have something like this. It should be on the inside. And then the zipper, so you want your zipper to open like this. So you want to put your zipper upside down inside, in between the main bag and the lining. And you're going to stick that in there too. Alright, I'm going to get a pin, and you're going to pin this all in place. Okay, so this is what you should have, your zipper and your... So now we're going to take one of our straps, and it's going to go in the side, right on the seam, right between, basically right here. You're going to want to put it down about 3 inches maybe. And then you're going to pin that. You're going to put your other side, make sure that you're not tangled. This is going to go on the other side on the seam. And we're going to pin that back in place. Alright. Now, you got to take your other part of your zipper, and it's got to get tucked in the front. You can open up so you can see. You can tuck this back. And then you're going to want to put your liner back up. You kind of want to make sure that this edge and this edge are still lined up, but between the zipper panel. So you're going to have to use your fingers to kind of feel that. Now you should have something that looks like this. You should have your flap, your zipper, and your straps all tucked between the lining and the main fabric. You're going to want to keep your zipper open and go and take it to the sewing machine and stitch 1/4 inch all the way around the perimeter of the top of the bag. You're going to need to remove the tray of your sewing machine for this next part so that you can get your bag around and sew without getting anything stuck like your straps or your zipper pulls. Basically, this is what you have. We have to attach our Velcro. So you should be able to open this up, and you should have your purse. And it should all be sewn and neatly together with pockets. So I'm going to attach this piece of Velcro now. That's the last thing that I have to do. Put it on here. Take off the sticking. Figure out where you want it to go. I want mine to go right here. Pop it up like this.